todos y bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio del podcast GRIPS&MICS, un podcast de BJJ Canarias. Como siempre tengo a Gonzalo a mi lado. ¿Qué tal, Gonzalo? ¿Cómo estamos? Y un servidor, Jay Campbell, y en esta ocasión tenemos como invitado a nada menos que Tom Halpin. Tom Halpin es cinturón negro de Roberto Cyborg Abreu, campeón en múltiples ocasiones en distintos eventos, veterano de Polaris, debutante de la pasada edición de ADCC y, vamos, los que lo hayan visto luchando y participando sabrán que es un fenómeno técnico, ¿vale? Como siempre, bueno, como hemos hecho en otra ocasión, vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés, ¿vale? Intentaremos traducir en español sobre la marcha, entonces esperamos que no sea muy accidentada e intentaremos hacerlo lo mejor posible. Tom, thanks for being here and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
So, bueno, primero le vamos a preguntar un poco que nos hable cómo conoció el Jiu Jitsu y eso, y su paso por los distintos cintos, ¿no?
Sí.
Okay, Tom, just first of all, we want you to do a little introduction and tell us how did you come to know Jiu Jitsu? How did you learn about Jiu Jitsu?
Yeah, so just say anyone that's watching, hi, thanks for tuning in, and thank you to you guys for having me on the show. Yeah, my name is Tom Halpin. I'm from a small city in Ireland called Limerick, and I'm 26 years old, and I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for about pretty much 9 years now. So I was 17 years old, I was in school, and I wanted to do MMA because I came across it through a few of my friends followed MMA. So I just Googled MMA clubs around, and I knew that Jiu-Jitsu was kind of a part of MMA. I knew it was like the ground fighting. So I started 2 days a week, and I started doing Jiu-Jitsu 2 days a week because I thought that would help my MMA. You know, and then I'd been doing that for a while, and I preferred the Jiu-Jitsu. I was kind of natural with the Jiu-Jitsu. And then even when we would be doing MMA training, I'd be saying to the coach, let's do some training on the ground, and then they started adding a few more Jiu-Jitsu classes, and just started doing only Jiu-Jitsu. And yeah, it was a good decision, because now I'm glad my brain is still good so far anyway. So yeah, it worked out well.
Ah, nice. Ok, entonces Tom nos ha dicho que lleva casi 9 años prácticamente.
De los 17 tiene 26.
Exacto, pues ese es el tiempo que lleva entrenando Jiu-Jitsu. Él es natural de Irlanda, de un pueblo pequeñito, y en realidad él se interesó por las MMA, ¿no?
Sí, originalmente se dice que se interesa por las MMA, entonces puso en Google clubes de MMA cercanos para entrenar. Y empezó a tener clases de Jiu-Jitsu unas 2 veces por semana, y ahí de a poco se dio cuenta que lo que le gustaba más era la lucha en el suelo, digamos.
Sí, se sentía más natural también con el Jiu-Jitsu. Y que nada, que dice que ahora ve que ha tomado una buena decisión porque no le va nada mal y lo está haciendo bastante bien, la verdad. Okay. Vale, la siguiente pregunta que le vamos a hacer es que explique un poquito su paso por los distintos cinturones, porque yo creo que es bastante interesante y no es lo convencional.
Sí.
Yo creo, es mejor que nos lo explique él. Tom, next question, if you can talk about a little bit about your progression through the ranks in Jiu-Jitsu in each
So I started off training at a small gym in my home city, and I was only a white belt for a few months, like less than a year, because I won a lot of competitions, and I was always, I think actually before I got my blue belt, because when I was a white belt I didn't really know, there wasn't much of a jiu-jitsu scene in Ireland. I didn't really know about the World Championships in Brazil. I didn't really know about ADCC. For me, it was all like you're either in the UFC or you weren't. You know, even though I only wanted to do jiu-jitsu, I just thought that it was like a fun thing, and I just wanted to get my blue belt as fast as I could, because no one wants to be a white belt forever, you know. So I even did one competition as a blue belt. It was no-gi, so I could do the blue belt division while I was a white belt. And I won, and then I got my blue belt like a month after that. So it was less than a year on the white belt. Then I was another 2 years as a blue belt. And while I was a blue belt, I actually went over to Miami because one of my good friends and training partners, he was one of Cyborg's students.
Okay.
So I went for a few months to train there, came home, I got my purple belt at home, I ran a year, and then when I was there, or no, I came back, had another year.
Se está trabando.
Went back over. It was very kind of working. Yeah, so the training at home was very kind of part-time. You know, there was a couple of coaches there, but they had full-time jobs, so I kind of wanted more of a full-time professional. Again, with my friend, we like, he was already part of the team, and Cyborg was like, "Oh, I want you to be part of the team," you know, and like I was like, I got my brown belt. Yeah, I think that summer I got my brown belt. So at this stage I was 21. I'd been a purple belt for almost 2 years as well, and I'd been winning a lot of competitions over in Miami as well. And then I just came home for the next 2 years. I was training a lot at home. I was and my friend that introduced me to Cyborg, he got his black belt on the same day. So we're still very good friends and training partners. So yeah, it was
Nice.
It was good anyway to kind of see the professional side of Jiu-Jitsu and kind of believe in myself that actually the people who are at a high level like that, they're actually no different than you or me. You know, you just train, think about it, you'll be at a high level.
Nice. Tom, maybe we'll ask you a couple of questions again because there were some connection problems. We'll talk about first about the white and blue belt, okay? And then we'll go. Yeah. Sorry, because there were some connection problems. Okay. Vale, entonces Tom dice que en cinturón blanco prácticamente empezó a entrenar porque le gustaba, pero que no tenía mucha idea de lo que había, ¿no?
Que no sabía de ADCC, de mundiales ni nada, sabía de la escena local, ¿no?
Sí, que UFC era todo lo que había y ya está, que no sabía nada de...
Sí, también dice que estuvo menos de un año.
Sí, estuvo menos de un año.
Porque ganó varias competencias locales.
Sí.
Y bueno, en azul estuvo unos 2 años.
Sí.
Y ahí fue cuando hace el primer viaje a Miami.
Sí, a través de un amigo que ya entrenaba con Cyborg, sí, ¿no?
Sí.
Y ahí ve que el nivel es, vamos, totalmente distinto.
Sí, claro.
Y
también comenta que, claro, que los profesores que estaban actualmente eran varios, que no había uno fijo en su academia en Irlanda y que no había nadie que se dedique de tiempo completo a dar clases.
Exacto, entonces él quería dar el salto y dedicarse a tiempo completo, ¿no?
Sí.
Tom, can you tell in a brief summary again your phase in purple belt?
Yes, so purple belt, I was a purple belt about a year and a half, and I was training. I think I went to Miami twice actually when I was a purple belt. I went for 3 months, came back to Ireland for another 6 months, trained a lot, competed a lot, saved up some money, and then I went again to Miami for another 3 months. So purple belt, I would feel, was like, I wasn't purple belt very long, but it's kind of where I jumped my level hugely in like the space of a year, really, because I got my purple belt and then I left college as well, because I was going to college and studying in university here, sports science. So when I gave up university and started focusing more on training, I still wasn't training a lot, but it was my main focus, you know.
Oh, okay.
So I might train 1 jiu-jitsu session a day, maybe twice a week I would train 2 jiu-jitsu sessions a day. Might do a little bit of strength conditioning, but I think the rest and the focus was what really helped me get to the next level, and the study as well. So the purple belt was probably where I made the jump from being like kind of a hobbyist to kind of wanting to do it for the rest of my life, you know. And then I got my brown belt from Cyborg after being a purple belt maybe a year and a half. Yeah, so it was a good belt for me. Yeah, it was good.
All right, nice. I will translate this one and then we'll continue on, okay? Okay. Dice que en el cinturón morado estuvo 1 año y medio aproximadamente, y en esta etapa fue cuando se dio cuenta de que quería dedicarse a esto al 100%, ¿no? Porque hasta ese momento había estado dedicándose a ello a tiempo parcial.
Claro.
¿No?
Ahora dice que pudo dedicarse más de lleno, digamos.
Sí.
Que podía incluso 2 veces por semana hacer doble clase.
Sí.
También dice que fue el síndrome que pudo ir 2 veces a Miami.
Exacto.
Tuvo 3 meses en Miami, volvió 6 meses a Irlanda, juntó un poco de dinero y volvió otros 3 meses a Miami, que fue donde pegó el salto de calidad mayor en su carrera, en ese año y medio morado, estando allá en Miami la mayoría del tiempo.
Exactamente. Dejó la universidad porque estaba estudiando ciencias del deporte también, pero que digamos que aparte de lo que estamos comentando, el salto de nivel ese, debido a que al entrenamiento en Miami, también por hacer acondicionamiento físico
Sí.
y lo que había aprendido en la universidad, pues aplicarlo.
Sí.
Y muy importante el descanso también, que hablaremos de ello, porque Tom le da bastante importancia también al descanso. Fue lo que hizo que aumentara su nivel
calidad,
también.
sí.
Exacto. Y también ello propició que decidiera a dedicarse
Y
de
ahí es
lleno.
cuando Cyborg le da el marrón.
Exacto.
Ese año y medio.
Exacto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom, now brown belt.
Yeah. So brown belt, then I always thought like brown belt was kind of it's like you're almost a professional, but you're just a little bit off. So brown belt, I wanted to compete a lot. I did a few big competitions and I didn't do too well. And then I injured my ankle. I couldn't play guard for 3 months, but I still trained every day, just passing.
Oh.
And then the first tournament I did back, I did the no-gi Europeans. And I was still kind of young I've been a brown belt maybe 6 months. I won the no-gi Europeans, and it was the first time actually I didn't tape up my ankle in about 3 months. And I won it playing guard as well, so it was fine. And so after I won that tournament, then that gave me a lot of confidence, you know. And my parents back home then and my friends, they were like, "Oh, Tom won like European championships, brown belt, whatever."
Yeah.
So everyone kind of believed that actually he might be okay, and I kind of believed it as well. I was like, okay, finally, all the hard work is actually starting to pay off, and I can, you know. And then everyone kind of treated me like I was a professional athlete. You know, they were like, okay, you can do your thing. So that was probably the biggest win of my career, really, because if I hadn't have won that and I hadn't have won other things along the way, it's never about winning, but you always want some kind of something to show that the work is kind of going towards something. So that kind of let me know that, you know, I'm on the right track and keep going. And then I won another few tournaments at brown belts. I got on the podium at the Rio Open, which was nice, in the Tijuca Tennis Club.
Yeah, which is not easy.
Yeah, that was tough. A crazy tournament, but it was a cool experience.
Yeah.
And then I started doing a lot of no-gi to try and qualify for ADCC. And I had a good match there against, I think he was the silver medalist in the end, but he beat me. And that again, like, that was a heartbreaking loss. But in the training for that tournament, because I took it so seriously, because ADCC was always my kind of big goal. Just the training for that tournament kind of brought my level up again. And then the next time I went over to Miami, I got my black belt from Cyborg. So I'd been a brown belt maybe 2 years. Yeah, so I got my black belt in around like 6.5 years probably. Yeah, I'd say 6.5 years from white to black.
Nice. That's a record, no?
I think I was the youngest person in Ireland to get it, but obviously that'll be broken soon. I was 23 when I got it. So I started when I was 17 and I got it when I was 23. But I'm sure in a few years' time there's going to be loads of 20-year-old black belts kicking my ass.
Yeah, which is a good sign, ¿no? For Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Ok, entonces Tom nos ha contado su paso por el cinturón marrón. Vamos a comentar eso.
Él comenta que el marrón preparándose, o sea, para competir ya a alto nivel, tiene una lesión grave
en el tobillo.
En el tobillo, que lo tuvo prácticamente 3 meses sin poder hacer guardia. O sea, solo se dedicaba a pasar.
Sí, siguió yendo a entrenar, pero se dedicaba solo a pasar.
Claro, cuenta también que es cuando gana el Europeo No-gi en marrón.
En marrón.
Que dice que ahí fue cuando pudo recién hacer guardia. Después de 3 meses fue en el campeonato y le salió bien, tuvo el primer torneo.
Sí.
Y él dice que esa victoria también le demostró a la familia, a todos sus amigos, que claro, que él, o sea, que puede ser un atleta profesional.
Como que le empezaron a tomar más en serio, claro. Y le dijeron, vale, sigue haciendo lo que estás haciendo, ¿no?
¿Qué más?
Sí, después de eso también se empezó a dedicar a no-gi,
sí,
¿no? Y su principal foco siempre había sido ADCC.
Sí. Bueno, lo que también dijo un poco eso, que no se trata siempre de ganar, pero bueno, tener esos triunfos como el del europeo significa que estás en el buen camino y que...
Claro, algo que avale que el trabajo que estás haciendo, sí, pues que se vea recompensado, ¿no? También sí. Hizo podio en el Open de Río,
sí,
¿no? Que sí. Le dijimos que no es nada fácil llegar al podio y que sí, dice que fue una experiencia increíble. Y que también es otro de los logros de los que se siente bastante orgulloso, ¿no?
Sí. Y no cuento, entonces, terminando aquí, cuando le dan el cinto negro con Cyborg, entonces ahí lo que sacamos cuenta que dice él que son 6 años que tardó, de los 17 a los 23 en conseguir el cinto negro, que es uno de los cintos negros, o el cinto negro más
joven de Irlanda. Sí, pero decía que eso no va a durar mucho tiempo, que ya vendrán jovencitos por detrás que le van a batear el culo, ¿no? Básicamente.
Sí.
Sí, y también comentó que el entrenamiento que hizo para ADCC, o sea, para la edición de 2019, no, entiendo que para la anterior, le ganó, se quedó con medalla de plata, ¿no? No se clasificó, pero el entrenamiento y el empeño que le puso para esa competición, pues hizo que subiera su nivel también y que se vio también en ese sentido más confiado para seguir adelante y participar en más eventos.
Sí.
Okay, Tom, and now it's been not that much time in black belt, but so far, how has been your black belt journey?
It's been amazing. It's now like I've been a black belt longer than I've been any other belt, so I kind of forget what it's like to be a lower belt, and it's kind of, it feels like the belts don't really matter as much. Like I feel like now at black belt I'm able to improve more and more, because I feel like the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. But it's kind of like when you get good at jiu-jitsu, you can teach yourself, you know. So most of the things I learn, like the other day I was training with my friend, and I've had a problem with the guillotine recently. It's one of my best moves, but there's one escape that people can always kind of do, and it's frustrating because I like to be able to, when I attempt a submission, I want to finish it on everyone. And I figured out a nice little trick to block that escape, and that was like, you know, the best day I've had in the last 2 weeks, because I figured out things. So I feel like the black belt has been, it's been brilliant, really, because now you kind of have access to all the best tournaments, all the best opponents. And when I was training through the lower belts, I always thought everything until black belt is just training. You know, so I've done tournaments where I say, no matter what happens, I just want to play on top and practice my top game. No matter what happens, I want to play on bottom, practice my bottom game. But now when you're at the black belt, it's like you just want to go there, do your moves, and win, you know. So I feel like every tournament is kind of important now, whereas at white, blue, purple, brown, they don't really matter, because even if you think you're great and you're the champion, you did it in the lower belt division compared to the black belt, you know. So for me, it's brilliant. It's like now I get to show my skills at the highest level, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very motivating as well. There's always a big opponent, a bigger competition coming up. So yeah, I love it. Yeah, since I got my black belt, I've tried to compete a lot, and I'm going to keep doing it now for the next few years.
Nice. We want to see you as well in those competitions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's some good stuff coming.
Yeah, nice. Vale, comentamos lo que lleva él hasta ahora en su cinturón negro.
Sí. Claro, eso es que no lleva tanto tiempo de cinto negro, ¿no? Pero bueno, está diciendo que lo mejor de ser cinto negro es eso, o habla de lo que hablamos siempre, ¿no? Que el jiu-jitsu nunca se para de aprender. Y nada, que ahora es cuando por suerte tiene acceso a las mejores competencias, a los mejores luchadores, quiero decir, y que se da cuenta de que cuando llegas a cinto negro, como que todo lo que pasaste, como que ya no vale, que a partir de ahora es como una nueva nuevo empiezo, ¿no?
Exacto. También comentó eso, que en cuanto a lo del aprendizaje, que parece que como que lo ves todo como con una nueva visión y que no dejas de aprender, y en concreto estaba diciendo que estaba practicando la guillotina, que es uno de sus movimientos clave, su fuerte, y que siempre la gente le hacía un escape. Entonces encontró la manera, a base de estudiar, analizar y tal, la manera de neutralizar ese escape y finalizar la guillotina, porque él dice que todo lo que va es a finalizar. Claro. Entonces que fue como uno de los... se le encendió la bombilla y uno de los mejores días de la semana, ¿no? Para él.
Claro, porque comentó eso, como estar sin tener muchas veces, como que tenés que aprender a enseñarte a vos mismo, ¿no? Como que estudiar y reaprender las técnicas que viste y eso, y buscar contras para cuando tienen una defensa.
Exacto. Y también que eso, que al estar en cinturón negro, pues ya las competiciones son a mayor nivel, los rivales también son de alto calibre, y eso también es algo que le motiva bastante para competir y para seguir en ese camino. Sí. Y que pretende hacerlo por mucho tiempo más. Claro. Exactamente. Tom, bueno, le vamos a preguntar si se dedica más al gi o al no-gi. Nowadays you're doing just no-gi or gi and no-gi, or how is it going these days?
I've been doing a little bit of gi, but mostly no-gi, just because I suppose last year I was on Polaris 3 times. And then I was doing ACC, and then after that, I had no-gi Worlds and kind of the no-gi season. So it just seemed like all the competitions that were lined up were no-gi, and I was kind of enjoying the no-gi training as well, because as well, I do a lot of training with, especially when I'm back home, a lot of the training I would be doing would be with blue belts and my friends that are, they're just less experienced than me.
Wow.
So I feel like in the no-gi, I get more training done, because in the gi, it's a slower game. You kind of, like, you take your time, you control the positions. No-gi is more like attack and counter-attack, and it's faster. So I feel like if I'm only doing one session a day, some of these other guys over all the taking and training 3 times a day, but I only train once a day, and I don't take any of that stuff. So I need to make it a good training, So if I spend half the training stuck in like worm I try and do is when I'm training no-gi or something with people that are less experienced, I try and submit them as many times as I can, like with as little effort as I can, and that makes my submissions good then. And when I do them to the black belts in the big tournaments, sometimes it feels harder than doing it to my friends down at training, even though they're blue, purple belts, because we do so much training in the dominant positions, and then when I do them in the tournament, it's a lot easier. So yeah, I've been doing mostly no-gi the last while, and I'm enjoying it. So I'd say this year I'll probably be focusing mostly on no-gi again, just because I wasn't very happy with how the last ADCC went. So that's my big goal for the next 2 years, is to have a lot to work.
Ok, nice. Hemos tenido algunos problemas de conexión, intentaremos traducir lo más preciso posible, ¿no?
Sí, bueno, dice que eso, como la temporada que tuvo, la que viene teniendo de competencia, se focalizó más en no-gi, con el año pasado que estuvo 3 veces en el Polar, estuvo en la ADCC, estuvo en el Mundial no-gi, sigue haciendo no-gi. Y estaba pudiendo hacer, dijo, un entrenamiento diario. La mayoría de amigos y compañeros de entrenamiento de él son azules y morados. Entonces, como que no tiene tiempo, dice, cuando haces gi, hay muchas veces que perdés el tiempo en posiciones, estás como estancado. Y cuando haces no-gi es más finalizar, escapar, finalizar, atacar, es una lucha más dinámica. Entonces aprovecha para entrenar no-gi todo este tiempo. También porque quiere prepararse, que su meta es ir al ADCC 2021, porque no está muy contento con el papel que tuvo en 2019. Entonces aprovecha eso, todo el tiempo que puede, que está entrenando horas para hacer no-gi. Más que nada por eso, ¿no? Porque las temporadas, o sea, lo que más va a competir también va a ser en no-gi.
Claro, entonces se centra más en...
Es aparte de como los que conocía Richie Martínez, que ellos hoy por hoy viven de hacer superfight, de grappling, la mayoría de competencias grandes son de grappling hoy por hoy. Y ¿qué más decía del no-gi? Nada, eso, que aprovecha hacer no-gi, por eso, porque dijo algo de cuando compite en no-gi contra los pro.
Que las técnicas que había practicado con sus compañeros, luego cuando las va a hacer, pues debido al entrenamiento, después cuando las va a hacer en competición, pues que le salen mucho más fluido, ¿no?
Okay, sí.
Creo que puede es tipo más profesional, ¿no? ¿Working?
Sí. Es que se está...
Sí, se está cortando un poquito, Tom, por eso la conexión, the connection.
Yeah.
We are having some problems. That's why. You can repeat what you just said.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying. I think for no-gi as well, it's easier to make some money and it's a bit more professional. And I kind of like the direction that it's going. Yeah.
Sí,
Comentarle sobre lo que dijo Richie Martínez, de lo que vive en el preso contra Super
sí,
Friday, ¿no?
lo que acaba de decir Tom es básicamente lo que dijo Gonzalo, que también nos lo había dicho Richie Martínez, que el circuito de no-gi pues compensa muchísimo mejor económicamente a los atletas y que por eso también se estaba centrando más en la parte de no-gi.
Sí.
¿No?
Sí.
Tom, about your training and learning process, I think a lot of people want to know that aspect of yourself. Coming from a small city, a small town in Ireland, and you didn't have a lot of training partners, no? How did you, apart from going to Miami, no, and all that stuff, but how did you manage to get to that level with the conditions you had in your town? No?
Yeah, so I just I used to look at a lot of other sports and see how are people improving, how are they getting better, and how are they leveling up quicker? Because I would see, even going over to Miami and seeing how people are training, most people don't really train that intelligently. They show up, the coach will show a move, everyone will just do the move and then roll. So I kind of realized very early, like even I was only a white or a blue belt, and I kind of realized that this is a bit silly, like, that everyone is doing this move, and it's like I give you a jigsaw piece, like just one piece, and you don't even know what the puzzle is, So I would always for me, the rolling was like to see where, like, what areas I need to work on. So if I'm rolling with someone and I feel like my control from the half guard isn't that good and they're passing my half guard, I'll go home and I'll study a lot of different people that are good at the half guard, people that are similar body type to me, see if one little thing might help, and then I'll try it out the next day in training, and then I'll add it in. So that would be one way that I would improve. I think the other way is, like, instead of focusing on, like, techniques more, I would focus more on, like, positions. So, like, let's say the back, for example, is kind of the easiest one. So I just do a lot of specific training starting on the back, and then studying, seeing what's the best strategy that people use to get the submission from there. Another position we'd use is the kimura. So I would study when people control the kimura very well and submit people, what do they do, and then just do specific training. And so a lot of it is really just practice and learning yourself. But I just think splitting it up into just kind of, there's the drilling, the specific training, the wasting your time too much time. The specific training is probably the best one, and we do it whenever I'm training, especially with my friends. I do a lot of specific training from weird positions that people wouldn't think of, So we do a lot of different ones, and I'm always coming up with new ones. And the other thing is, as I would only train once a day, maybe 5 days a week, like for my whole career, really, I'd always be very careful with my training time. So, like, if there's someone there that I don't want to roll with, I'll just say no thanks, and I'll roll with the people that I want to, So, like, for example, there might be 20 people at training, and maybe 3 of my friends are there that I know are good. They move kind of like a black belt would move, and I will pick a position, do the position with 3 of them, like a positional training round. New position, go with the 3 of them. New position, go with the 3 of them. And then if we do 3 10-minute rolling rounds at the end, I'll go with the 3 of them as well. So I've only gone with the 3 people, but I've actually got maybe over an hour's worth of sparring. So just doing different things like that and not wasting your training time and thinking about it a bit. Yeah. But it is hard. It's hard. Like, when you show up to the class, you don't want to be rude. You want to do what the coach says. But sometimes the coach's job is to make everyone better at jiu-jitsu. So sometimes I feel like, if I go to a class and the coach is explaining how to do an armbar for 40 minutes and we're not actually training, it's very annoying. So when I'm coaching, I barely talk. I say very little. We do drills first just for movement. Then I'll explain an idea. If you have something else you're working on, you can do that. But I'll give like a lesson of the day, and then we'll do the positional training, and then just kind of coming up with your own structure over a while, but it's really paying off now, and I'm always kind of adjusting it and learning a lot, and but it's going to be different for everyone too. Some people just like to show up and roll, but for me, I wasn't getting to the next level, especially with the knee bars. Like last year, I started doing, because I was doing a lot of heel hooks, and then I had to do IBJJF no-gi season. So I was like, well, how do I do no-gi? So I was like, oh, I'll just do knee bars from my heel hook positions. And I just played around with it a bit with my friends, saying, oh, this works. And then we did a lot of specific training from starting the saddle, no heel hooks, started doing a lot of knee bars. Then you take it one step back, start in the X guard. Your goal is to get to the saddle, maybe get a knee bar, And then once you get really good at that, you can take it another step back, start from the open guard, and then your goal is just to get into the X guard. And then once you get into the X guard, the rest should be easy. You're good at getting to the saddle, you're good at getting the knee bar. So that's kind of how I would develop it. Yeah.
Nice.
I know that's a lot of...
Yeah, no problem. In case we miss something, you can interrupt us, and even you can tell it in Spanish if you want, okay? No problem. Vale, entonces le hemos preguntado a Tom que cómo ha hecho él para coger ese nivel teniendo los pocos recursos que él tenía en su ciudad, ¿no?
Sí.
No tenía muchos amigos, muchos compañeros de su nivel para hacer sparring, no había mucho gimnasio por la zona. ¿Cómo hizo él? Aparte de, claro, ir a Miami, evidentemente, pero aparte de eso, ¿cómo hizo él para subir su nivel en Jiu Jitsu, ¿no? Digamos.
Sí. Bueno, lo que él cuenta básicamente es que él rompe con lo típico, que es ir, que un maestro te muestre una posición y después ir a rodar directamente. Entonces él se centra más en drills de movimientos para empezar la clase y luego hacer mucho específico. Específico de posiciones para finalizar, y se centra básicamente en eso, o sea, en controlar ciertas posiciones y repetirlas hasta... ¿Qué más dijo?
Sí, después también dijo que él se fija en otros deportes y que cómo los atletas, los que más destacaban en esos deportes, cómo hacían ellos a la hora de entrenar, ¿no? Y entonces, de alguna manera, emular eso en el Jiu-Jitsu. Y después también...
dijo que cuando tenía algún problema en una posición, él iba a la casa, estudiaba mucho, te recomiendo eso, estudiar mucho por tu cuenta, ir ver videos de ciertas posiciones, ciertos luchadores que manejen muy bien esa posición, que sean de tu biotipo más o menos.
Exacto.
Y ver ahí para cuando se queda estancado en una posición, repasar.
Sí, él puso un ejemplo que, por ejemplo, estás rodando y tú quieres practicar la media guardia, pero siempre te pasa en la media guardia. Sí. Entonces, ¿en qué estás fallando? Pues buscaba eso, a luchadores que trabajaran en la media guardia, que fueran muy buenos, a ser posible de su estatura, su envergadura, su peso y demás. Y al día siguiente probar eso en el gimnasio.
Sí. Y después estuvo contando por último, claro que él, al entrenar tanto no-gi y a ese nivel en Miami, como que estaban haciendo ya muchos hell hooks. Entonces cuando él empieza a ir a competir a no-gi, de la IBJJF se centró en ver desde esa posición de saddle y esas posiciones técnicas que sean legales en la IBJJF.
Claro, porque rotatoria no te permite.
Entonces aprendió, se centró en, por ejemplo, palancas de rodilla.
Exacto.
De distintas posiciones legales para la IBJJ.
O sea, las mismas entradas que él hacía para las rotatorias, pues aplicaba a la rodilla, ¿no?
Sí.
Y después de ahí, decía él, llevarlo un paso atrás y practicar las entradas de guardia X, por ejemplo, pues guardia X y después trabajar a la entrada, ¿no?
Sí.
Y así. Y dice que así mucho específico, ¿no?
Mucho específico. Sí, tiene lógica.
Sí.
Es que de verdad él dice que está acostumbrado, lo que estamos acostumbrados es que venga alguien, él decía que cuando te muestran así una técnica, que son como una pieza de un puzzle. Pero claro, te faltan todas las demás. O sea,
claro, que te dan la pieza y no sabes ni dónde va ni nada. Sí.
Eso. Bueno.
Sí, ¿no? Nada más. No se nos ha quedado nada más. Vale, le voy a preguntar ahora que él tiene un mote que le dicen el mago. Y que le voy a preguntar por qué le dicen eso. Tom, they call you the wizard. Why is that?
I don't know. I guess because they call me weak as well over there because they're all huge and I'm like 70 kilos, 68 kilos. I think it's just because I'm more technical. Like, and I do a lot of things differently than the kind of classic way. Especially over in Miami, everyone is kind of old school Brazilian, and like I love that because I need a bit more of that to be honest, like just get stuck in and go hard. So I always like to study a lot and I come up with a lot of new things, because I train at home with couple of my friends, and we kind of learn a lot of stuff together, you know, or we'll just kind of try something and say, oh, that works. So I'd always be showing everyone in Miami just these very weird ways to do different submissions that people hadn't really seen, and everyone just thinks it's magic. So I guess they were calling me the Irish wizard, yeah. But it's one of my friends. It's a cool nickname and all that stuff. But one of my friends in Ireland actually already has the nickname, so I feel bad. I feel bad calling myself. I feel like I'm stealing his nickname. Yeah, it's a compliment, I guess, because they think I'm just technical and have weird magic moves.
Black magic, yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was real magic, but it's not.
Vale, entonces Tom me está diciendo que primero dijo que no sabía por qué y que también le llaman el débil, porque es uno de los pesos más ligeros ahí en Miami, ¿no? Y que él entrena con bestias.
Sí, gente muy old school, pesada, fuerte.
Sí, que dice que necesita un poco de eso también, ¿no? Que a veces le hace falta eso también.
Él destaca por ser más técnico y por hacer movimientos más raros que nadie cree que funcionan o que lo va a hacer. Sí,
muchos movimientos técnicos de posiciones muy raras. Claro. Dice que las estudia y tal y después las enseña ahí. Y entonces, nada, le dicen que eso es magia y entonces por eso de ahí le dicen que es el mago. Y nada, Tom, para finalizar, está diciendo que ojalá fuera magia de verdad. Y que se sentía un poco mal porque dice que ella tiene un compañero ahí en Irlanda que ya tenía ese mote. Y entonces él se siente como que le está robando ese... Sí, exacto. Tom, how did you come with the approach of only training once per day instead of the everyday porrada mentality?
Yeah.
And why did you come up with that?
I guess really it's because I only could train once a day. Because in the city here, like everyone has a 9-to-5 job, really. Even the young people are there in college or something. So I only could train at nighttime. So like before I was purple belt, I used to go to university as well, and I would just train at night. And then when I left university, I was actually a bit bored sometimes because I was like, well, I want to train, and I was young, so I could, but I couldn't really. So like one of my friends then for a year, he was going to university as well, so we would train some mornings. But really, it's kind of, I would have liked to do a couple of days a week where I would train twice a day, but I kind of couldn't. It was only once a day. And now I'm getting a little bit older, like into my mid-20s, but like once a day is kind of enough, really. You know, if I'm resting a lot or I feel like I'm not training too much sparring maybe the day before, then I might get 2 trainings the next day. But really it just depends on the quality. You know, I'd rather get one quality session and, you know, maybe do some study, do some strength and conditioning, do some yoga, instead of kind of forcing 2 jiu-jitsu sessions. So I would have liked to train a little bit more, like coming up through the belts, but it worked out well. I never have any injuries. You know, I feel great. Like when I leave jiu-jitsu, I feel fantastic, you know, whereas some people who train too much, especially at the lower belts, by the time they make it to black belts, they're kind of broken, you know, so I kind of took the slow and steady approach, but it's working out well.
Yeah, it's nice to see that it's coming out well, and it's not the usual approach, no? And because it might seem that from the outside that you are not the guy who's grinding it every day and...
Yeah. You know? Now, I'm not saying that I'm lazy either. Like, I train basically as much as I can.
No,
I think just a lot of guys just take steroids and they just train 3 times a day because, honestly, I'm pretty tired after one training a day. Like, if I start doing 2 trainings a day and, like, the second training wouldn't be good. I wouldn't be able to spar hard. I wouldn't be, you know, I don't like doing light rolling, really.
Yeah.
Like, even when I'm rolling with lower belts and it's a light one, I still try and do as many submissions as I can. So, yeah, I just like to get one good one a day.
Yeah, Tom, usually how many hours is one quality session for you?
2 hours, I suppose.
2 hours.
Yeah, I always do a long warm up. I always do maybe 20 minutes of yoga, then maybe some drills just to get moving, then like a couple of drills just for things I need to work on, and then it would probably be about, I suppose, 30 to 40 minutes of specific training and 30 minutes of rolling, maybe, and then a cool down after training as well, and kind of talk and go over things that did or didn't work, and you know.
It's a really complete session then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And every part is important. Like the warm up is important, the cool down is important. You know, like I take good care of my body. But I think the part that people don't see is some of the people who train 2 or 3 days a week, they just kind of do their training and then they go home and forget about it. Whereas I go home from training and I'm hungry to train again the next day. I'm thinking about it all the time. Like I always have it on my mind. There's always something floating around there that didn't feel right, like at the last training session, and I just kind of, I suppose I'm just a bit obsessed with it. So I'm always thinking about how could I improve this, how could I improve that. I'm kind of, you know, I'm good at visualizing myself doing like jiu-jitsu. You know, I can see myself in my head in the first person doing everything, like since I'm a white or a blue belt, you know, and I can actually kind of feel what it actually feels like to do it when I close my eyes. So that kind of, I do a lot of like mental training as well on top of the physical training.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ok, le hemos preguntado a Tom que cómo era cómo enfoca él el entrenamiento, ¿no?
Sí.
Y que él se sale un poco de la norma, porque él dice que hace una sesión de entrenamiento fuerte al día y ya está. No entrena, más de una vez no entrena al día, ¿no?
Sí.
Y que ha seguido manteniéndolo y que le ha ido bien.
Sí,
y que
da
como
resultados.
Exacto, y como se sale un poco de la norma o de lo que la mayoría suele hacer, ¿no? Sobre todo a nivel de competición, pues le hemos preguntado que cómo vino con esa idea y por qué y que en qué consiste.
Sí, y él, bueno, también dice, claro, que al principio es lo que tenía.
Claro.
Solo podía entrar una vez porque sus compañeros de entrenamiento también tienen un trabajo y solo podía entrar por noche. Él estaba estudiando hasta cierto grado, entonces solo podía entrenar una vez al día. Pero igual, claro, vos le preguntaste que indagaste un poco más en cómo era su entrenamiento, dice que son 2 horas, que hace algo de yoga, que hace media hora de drills, media hora de específicos y claro,
calentamiento
y media hora de lucha.
Sí.
Entonces es medio completo y que él habla mucho de lo que es el entrenamiento mental. Que cuando no está entrenando, está estudiando y si no está pensando en lo que va a hacer en el entrenamiento el próximo día y llega con muchas más ganas de entrenar. Al otro día siempre tiene ganas de entrenar. Que entrenando de esta manera no ha tenido prácticamente lesiones fuertes y siempre está bien para entrenar. Y se habla mucho de eso, de que él está pensando en qué va a practicar al día siguiente cuando vaya al gimnasio.
Sí, que dice que puede ser un poco obsesivo, pero que es así y que así es como lo enfoca él. Y claro, que, vamos, que le va bien. Y también porque ha visto otros compañeros que en los cinturones más bajos ya se daban muchísima caña y entonces cuando ya han llegado a cinturón negro tienen muchas lesiones que han ido arrastrando, no están al 100% con su cuerpo, mientras que él ha sabido conservar su cuerpo y que rinde al más alto nivel.
Claro, ¿no? Y que cuando entrena fuerte, que no tiene, o sea, dice, si pelea con un cinto de menor nivel, un cinto más bajo, no es que va a ir suave, él va a ir fuerte de todas maneras e intentar finalizar la máxima cantidad de veces que pueda.
Exacto.
Quiero decir que no es un entrenamiento completo y fuerte.
Sí, que el flow roll no le va, no le gusta. Exacto. Y también dice que en cuanto al entrenamiento mental, entiendo que por lo que explicó, que él trabaja mucho de la visualización. Se ve a él mismo en la mente con lo que va a hacer, qué movimiento va a hacer y demás, y que eso después lo proyecta a la hora de ir a entrenar, ¿no?
Sí. Sí.
And consistency as well. Like I'd say the longest time I've taken off from training since I started has probably been 2 weeks.
Ooh,
so nice. I've never taken like touch wood, but I've never had no jiu-jitsu for longer than like 2 weeks.
Ooh,
in
nice.
9 years. So that's the secret, really, you know.
Claro, que comenta que en los últimos 6 años prácticamente el periodo más largo que ha estado sin entrar fue 2 semanas, una vez. Que siempre está entrenando. Que toca madera y que espera que así siga haciendo.
Exacto. Vale, le vamos a preguntar, sobre todo lo vimos en Flow Grappling, que él en su preparación para ADCC también se enfocaba mucho en yoga y meditación, y le vamos a preguntar un poquito cómo hizo su preparación para ADCC, tanto para los trials, porque él se quedó campeón de Europa en su categoría en ADCC, que eran los trials para clasificatorio, y también para el evento principal, ¿no? En sí. Y en Flow Grappling los chicos grabaron un montón de entrenamientos y tal, y ahí se veía a Tom también entrenando, y le vamos a preguntar un poquito de esa parte. Tom, we were just saying that we could see images in flow grappling, especially about your preparation for ADCC. Not just the main event, but the trials. You got champion of your division in ADCC, in Europe. So we wanted to ask you about the preparation, and you said that it was the main event you had in your mind.
Yeah.
So and you also said that you did a lot of yoga and meditation, which is not what we see in the most known gyms, So we wanted you to just talk a little bit about that phase.
Yeah. So for the actual ADCC, so after I won the trials, I was over in Miami. Like obviously the competition didn't go very well for me. I didn't have a good it's not about winning or losing. It's just about having a good performance. But I wasn't myself at all. Even during the training camp, I didn't really feel myself. I think what it was because I've studied a lot since, because I wanted to find out what went wrong. And I was just trying too hard. It was over trying. It's one of the biggest things. So I listened to like a lot of different, just studied online about different like sports psychology things, and like over trying is a big one that kind of kept coming up, because what happens then is like when you're trying too hard, you're careful, you don't want to be careful especially when you're fighting someone else. You want to just be confident and go for it, And it was like I was really over trying. Even in training, every day I was trying. I was getting upset if I wasn't getting 8 or 9 hours sleep. I was forcing myself to rest when actually I wanted to do something fun. So I took it too seriously, and I wasn't myself for the training camp. Which was a shame. It's a shame that I had to use up a full ADCC that only comes around every 2 years, and it was hard to qualify for as well. So I had to use up one full ADCC to get that little bit of experience, whereas if someone would have just warned me about it, it would have been fine. But yeah, so I wasn't happy at all. Like, I was trying too hard to do everything right. Whereas for the trials, I was being more myself. I was doing fun things. I was still training a lot. I was teaching. Wasn't really attached to the results. I just said, I'm just going to go over, do the trials, submit everyone, and come home.
Yeah, which you did. And which you did.
Exactly. Because I didn't take it too seriously, because it's only a competition at the end of the day. And like, because my game is very submission orientated, I need to be aggressive to make it work, So I need to just keep throwing the different submissions at people, and I'll get them. So I learned a lot from ADCC, but for the trials was kind of a better example, really, of my game, because I was still doing a lot of the things for the trials, but I wasn't taking them so seriously. So I was doing a lot of yoga, just keep my body feeling good. Wasn't training too much. I was doing some meditation. Meditation sounds fancy, but really it was just a way. Really, it's just a way to train your concentration. Because I was just looking again at like different ways that people train their concentration. So I was looking at I like Formula One as well. So I was listening to some interviews with the Formula One world champion, and he was saying that one of the best things he did for his concentration, because they need to drive flat out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Concentrate every second. So he said meditation, just like 20 minutes a day. And then I started looking up different meditation things and trying to, and I felt like my concentration was really good. Maybe it was a placebo, but I felt like in training I was more focused as well. So just trying different things and keeping it fun, because for me it's not really that fun to do the same thing every day. I want to always have a new thing, or even if it's something silly, like I just want to try it out and see what happens. But it's a shame that the ADCC didn't go as well as I hoped, but again, I learned a lot, and I know exactly now what I need for the next ADCC.
Yeah, at least you got the experience, and I think you'll come stronger in the next edition of ADCC. And apart from what you are saying, that you were over trying, I think that Pablo Mantovani went a little bit conservative as well. He didn't, no?
That's the way it is.
Yeah, according to my opinion, so I think a little bit of both play out.
It was hard. Oh, he felt very strong.
I
was like, oh my. I was like, oh. For the next ADCC, I'm going to be big and strong. But,
nice.
I don't want to be too big, because I don't like cutting the weight. I heard that some people in the division, they cut from think they cut like 20 to 30 pounds in a month. Now, I suppose they probably diet as half it and cut the other half. But like, I thought 3 kilos was loads. I was like, oh, it's not. But yeah, it's a shame because I felt like I'm better than what I got to show, you know, because my mind wasn't there at all. There was all the things I trained, I didn't do anything. I didn't do any I trained. I just kind of got one little idea in my head that I wanted to do, and I couldn't do it. And then I just kept trying, and then I kind of got annoyed, and then I ended up giving away 2 points, and that was kind of the end of the match. Then I was just running after him, and yeah, it was embarrassing to watch afterwards, but you know, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Nada, eso, que le hemos preguntado un poco la experiencia y la preparación para ADCC, y entonces él decía que, claro, el resultado no fue el esperado, porque se eliminó en primera ronda contra Pablo Mantovani, y él decía que en comparación a
los trials,
la actuación que tuvo en los trials, que iba como más suelto, iba menos pendiente del resultado y haciendo lo que él quería, ahí sí le fue bien, pero en cambio en ADCC, pues todo lo que entrenó en el camp, que al final no aplicó nada en la lucha, y que él dice que lo que le estaba pasando era que
estaba sobreentrenado, ¿no?
No, que pensaba demasiado las cosas.
Sí.
Y entonces eso lo que te hace es que eres más conservador. Entonces no despliegas todo tu potencial, ¿no?
Sí.
Entonces eso dice que es lo que le pasó. Yo le comenté que mi opinión, aparte de lo que él comenta, que Pablo Mantovani también hizo una lucha muy estratégica y muy conservadora.
Sí.
Que en la primera mitad, que no hay puntos, él estuvo en la guardia ahí amarrando, y cuando ya empezaron los puntos solo hizo un raspado y ya se quedó arriba, pero no hacía nada más. Entonces,
también dice, él nota la diferencia entre los trials, que fue ganó a la versión de la ADCC, es que es eso, que él siente que no entrena como él entrena. Quiero decir que estaba sobreentrenado, entrenaba más de lo que él suele entrenar, se obligaba a descansar, a dormir la cantidad de horas que no hacía nada divertido, que estaba concentrado solamente en la ADCC. En cambio, para los trials se preparó como se preparaba él, dando clases, por cierto, entrenando sobre esa vez, saliendo a despejarse, y ahí él sintió que era el mismo, pero eso, que al cambiar la forma de entrenar también, sintió que también estaba sobreentrenado, estaba entrenando más de lo que él está acostumbrado, y eso también le puede haber jugado en contra.
Sí, pero que bueno, por otra parte le ha servido de experiencia y que
sabe lo que tiene que hacer para la próxima edición.
Exacto. Y ¿qué más había dicho? Algo más al final. El tema de la meditación, que suena como muy cursi o muy así, muy tal, muy...
Yo me río.
Sí. Pero que unos 20 minutos al día, que sobre todo él lo utiliza para la concentración, y que se fijó en el campeón de Fórmula 1, que él sigue mucho la Fórmula 1 también, y que decía que que él hacía meditación para sobre todo mantener la concentración, que tienen que estar 2 horas y pico ahí pilotando los coches de Fórmula 1, y que eso les ayuda. Y él también, que también durante ADCC también ha dedicado mucho tiempo a estudiar, entonces cogía todas estas ideas y las aplicaba. También mucho yoga para mantener el cuerpo sano después de los entrenamientos.
Sí, dice que también eso, ¿no? Que el meditar 20 minutos al día hace que también esté más atento a los entrenamientos, como que puede concentrarse más.
¿Qué más? Tom, what are your plans for the near future and far ahead?
Yeah, so I just moved back to Ireland, so I'm going to be teaching a little bit around Ireland and get a lot of training in. So for the next year, I want to do like as many high-level competitions as I can. So my next competition is going to be in about 6 or 7 weeks. Is EBI.
Oh, nice.
With the slaps. Combat Jiu Jitsu Worlds. That has guys like Imanari is in the division with me, Gio Martinez, Richard Alarcon, a few other ADCC guys. So it's going to be a really exciting one at 66 kilos, and I think it suits my game perfect.
Yeah,
you know, good at submissions, hard to submit, good back control, and I'm from Ireland, so I'm probably good at slapping guys as well. So see how it goes. I'll probably have a few beers before it, and then I'll slap.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Yeah.
nada, que le hemos preguntado qué planes tiene para el futuro, para el futuro próximo, o sea...
próximos compromisos
cercanos. Exacto.
Entonces, dijo que va a estar en el IBI, en el Combat Jiu Jitsu, en 66 kilos, con gente como Imanari, como Richard Ardón, como Giovanni Martínez. Y dice que cree que va a ser bueno para él, que el tipo se prima ahí el control, o sea, el tener la espalda, y que probablemente por ser irlandés también se le va a dar bien de meter cachetazos.
Meter cachetazos, ¿no?
Y nada, esos 66 kilos es una categoría que dice que le viene bien.
Sí.
Y concentrado con eso. Y va a estar, este tiempo va a estar en Irlanda entrenando.
Exacto.
Y dando clases.
Exacto. Se ha vuelto a Irlanda y ahí se va a dedicar a entrenar y a dar clases.
Sí.
Tom, you also I don't remember if you're gonna release soon or it's already out a DVD.
Oh yeah, so on the 31st of January, I'm releasing it's with technically.com, so it's like a new website, but they actually have a lot of exciting things coming out soon. So it's going to be on the 31st of January, and anyone who follows me on Instagram or something, I'll put up a link to it. But it's short, but it's good, because I feel like a lot of the instructions now, they're kind of 8 hours, and I don't want to watch 8 hours of someone talking about
John Danaher, 8-10 hours.
Too long, because you just want the best bits, like you just want the real effective bits. So I like the format for this as well. So it's kind of like you start off in the saddle, how to finish the knee bar, then how to deal with a couple of the defenses, finishing the heel hook, how to deal with a couple of the defenses, and then again you take a step back. So you're in the X guard then, how to get to the saddle, because once you practice the finishes, then if you get to the saddle, you should finish. Then once you get good at the X guard bits, it's just, again, it's an ideal way to enter and a couple of ways to beat their defense. And then take another step back to the open guard, how to get to the X guard, again, the ideal way to do it, and how to beat the defense, because that's kind of the way my game is, really. I break it up into all the different positions. I have like the normal way to do something. I know exactly how the people defend. There's normally 2 or 3 different defenses. And then once you have a way to beat those defenses, you only need to know 3 or 4 things really from each position, and then you can submit everyone. So that's coming out on the 31st of January, so hopefully it's good anyway, and hopefully someone enjoys it. But it's all the best stuff anyway, and you can see I've done it in all the competitions, so it works,
It works, yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nada, le hemos preguntado porque sabíamos que iba a sacar un DVD de técnica.
Sí.
Sale el 31 de este mes.
Sí.
Y nada, comentaba que le gusta el formato corto, no estos instruccionales de 8 o 10 horas, ¿no? Y eso, como estaba explicado cómo está estructurado, ¿no?
Está estructurado un poco como dice el que entrena, ¿no? Que de una posición, por ejemplo, saddle, finalizar head hook, finalizar palanca de rodilla, va un paso hacia atrás y muestra cómo llegar desde guardia X a saddle. Y también cómo atacar, cómo defender, ¿no?
Sí, 2 o 3 defensas de cada posición. Palanca de rodilla también, ¿no?
Sí, después luego va un paso para atrás y va a guardia abierta y lo mismo. De guardia abierta, cómo llegar a guardia X, que es un poco lo que hace él, es su manera de entrenar y que funciona. Y eso, es que más conciso, más corto.
Sí, y que son técnicas que han sido probadas en competición, claro, o sea que es válido 100%, ¿no?
Sí.
Bueno, le quiero hacer una pregunta porque en el ADCC Lachlan Giles hizo un papel espectacular y una de las luchas fue contra Muhammad Ali, que le cogió en rotatoria de tobillo. Y como habíamos visto que Tom sí controla bastante rotatoria de tobillo y eso, quería preguntarle si había entrenado o había explicado a Cyborg, a Muhammad Ali, a Patrick Gaudio y eso, si había practicado con ellos y un poco el resultado de esa lucha, ¿no? So Tom, we know that Muhammad Ali did the camp with you guys, and in the absolute division in ADCC, he lost in a heel hook against Lachlan Giles, no? So we were imagining that maybe you are an expert in heel hooks, that you maybe exchange ideas with Cyborg, Patrick Gaudio, Muhammad Ali. So how that go, and then if you talked afterwards with Muhammad Ali of that fighting in special.
Yeah, I didn't talk him after the fight, but we did a lot of training, like the ADCC guys leading up to it, and we did a lot of like they actually did, like, Cyborg trusted me to kind of help with some leg lock defense, especially because I suppose him and Ali and them, they thought that they might fight Gordon Ryan. So we did a lot of different defense, and especially for the saddle, because Gordon doesn't really do 50-50. He does saddle and he does the outside ashy, he calls it. So anytime he goes 50, he just passes the leg across. So we didn't really focus much on 50-50. We did a lot from the saddle, but the problem is the defense Ali was doing to escape Loughlin's heel hook. It's the correct one for the saddle. But the problem is for 50-50, you can't clear the knee as easy. So he was turning away, and then he was sitting his weight back, which he's actually very good at. He's actually very good at doing it. If Loughlin had him in the saddle, it would have been totally fine, because for the saddle, the way the person on the bottom's legs are, their hips are kind of twisted a different way. So when he sat his weight back, he thought his knee was going to pop out. But the problem with Loughlin is he has short legs, strong legs, and he used the 50-50, which I suppose he wasn't expecting, because he was more focused on Gordon Ryan. And then because of that, he wasn't able to free his knee. Loughlin was able to put a bit of pressure, and then Ali had to roll and tap in the end. So it wasn't like after Loughlin submitted Kynan, I thought, like, he can submit anyone with this, because people were so focused on the defending the saddle that they kind of had the wrong habits for the 50-50 nearly, you know. So I think that helped. And as well, he's so big, Ali. Like, it's actually very hard to fight who's small. You know, like if you go against in the gym who's really small, if they're strong, it's actually really hard, because there's not much space to pass their guard. It's easy for them to get under you. So I think really it was a good matchup for Loughlin as well, which sounds funny because they were nearly 100 pounds apart, but you know, it was just, he just got caught off guard with it, you know. But yeah, it was some nice finishes from Loughlin.
Yeah. Nice, interesting. Entonces nos contó un poco cómo fue el asunto, ¿no?
Sí.
Entonces, que ellos en el camp entrenaron, sobre todo Tom les dio ideas y estuvieron practicando técnicas, pero sobre todo enfocados más por si se cruzaban con Gordon Ryan, que él aplica las rotatorias desde saddle o desde el Ashiganami por fuera, externo, no sé cómo se dice. Pero claro, la entrada que hace es con 50-50, entonces esas salidas no las habían practicado, ¿no? Sobre todo practicaron salidas.
Claro, y lo que dice es que es eso, que Lacan es pequeño, piernas cortas, piernas fuertes, que esa proporción es buena para él, pero claro, si haces la defensa de saddle no es la misma. O sea,
claro, entonces
posición a rodilla. Claro,
entonces que Ali, cuando se vio ahí atrapado, intentó hacer la fuga de saddle. Que la fuga es correcta, pero en ese caso estaba atrapado en 50-50 y lo que notó fue la presión del giro y por eso tocó, ¿no? Sí. Y que decía eso, que irónicamente era un buen emparejamiento, pero porque eso, al tú ser pequeño, pues el que es más grande cuando está de pasador, como eres tan pequeño, pues el pequeño lo que hace es que aprovecha y se mete por debajo, y eso fue lo que aprovechó Lackland, ¿no? Para hacer la... Sí, y de paso estaba elogiando a Lackland por el resultado que obtuvo en ADCC, ¿no? Vale, le voy a preguntar a Tom qué opina del nivel de Jiu Jitsu en Europa y cómo ve el futuro del Jiu Jitsu en Europa y en Irlanda, claro. Tom, we wanted to ask you, what do you think about the level in Jiu Jitsu in Europe and especially in Ireland? And what is coming in the future?
Yes, so I think over the next few years, I think there's going to be more and more Irish people kind of at a high level. So I already know a few of my friends that are recent enough black belts, and I know that they're going to be basically competing at a similar level to me. There's already a few other guys that are there. So hopefully the next generation will kind of have a bit more confidence when they're coming up, you know, because I would have loved to see people ahead of me, and I did as well. Like there's a couple of good Irish guys, Darragh O'Connell and Chris Bowe, and I took a lot of inspiration from them because I saw, you know, they're my friends and I know they're good, and they just, you know, there's nothing special about them. They just love jiu-jitsu and love training, competing. So that gave me a lot of confidence. So hopefully I can kind of contribute and give the up-and-comers a lot of confidence. But I think in Europe, the level is very strong, especially for no-gi. Because I think in Brazil, it's mostly gi. Like, most people train gi. The no-gi is getting more popular. In America, the no-gi is very strong now. They have the wrestling tradition, you know, and then in Europe, there's wrestling tradition. The MMA is very good in Europe as well. And like in Ireland, the MMA is quite good as well since Conor McGregor kind of broke onto the scene. So I think over the next few years, for no-gi, there'll probably be a lot of good Irish guys coming up the scene. And then for gi, there'll probably be a few more as well. But I'd say for no-gi, it's a bit easier to break into the high level, just because there's not as many people doing it, you know, because all the Brazilians do gi, and they kind of dominate that. So I think Europe, the level is already quite high. Like the ADCC trials this year were very, very tough, and the divisions were very big. You know, like I had 5 matches to win my division, which is a fair amount. And so I think over the next 5 years, you probably have a lot more Irish flags competing at the big event. And it was nice actually on the ADCC medal this year. They had all the flags around the medal, like the countries that were represented. So it was very cool to see that the Irish flag was on there because of me and all the people that helped me train. And so hopefully now there'll be an Irish flag on the next one as well.
Yeah, definitely. Nada, un poco lo que esperábamos, ¿no? Nos ha dicho que el nivel está bastante fuerte en Europa. En Irlanda también, que las próximas generaciones van a venir muy fuertes, ¿no?
Sí, dice que eso es que no-gi sobre todo, ¿no?
Sí, sobre todo no-gi, porque dice que la escena del gi todavía está dominada por los brasileños.
Sí.
En Estados Unidos también el no-gi por el tema del wrestling, ¿no? Y ahora que se está fusionando mucho el no-gi, submission grappling con wrestling y tal. Sí. Y que en Europa también hay muy buen nivel de wrestling.
Sí, que se vio reflejado en la ADCC en la cantidad de gente que había en los trials de Europa.
Sí,
tuvo que hacer hasta 5 luchas en su división.
Exacto, para clasificarse, ¿no? Y también por el tema de las MMA, que también con Conor McGregor, que es irlandés, que ha subido bastante el nivel y que también hay un buen nivel de MMA en Europa en general, ¿no?
Sí. Ah, y eso, hablaba
how's the level in the Canaries, I always wondered.
Está preguntando qué nivel hay en Canarias.
Bueno, hoy tenemos 2 campeones europeos, ¿no?
Sí. Yeah, 2 European champions. They competed today, brown belt. Yeah. From Tenerife. ¿Qué peso?
Bueno, 66. No, 66 y no sé 84.
66 y 84.
Sí, creo.
Vale.
No tengo idea.
Vale. And purple belt, one from Carlson Gracie got 3rd position.
Y otro segundo.
Y el otro también de Tenerife, ¿no? Cayo Terra. Another one from Tenerife, Cayo Terra. He got in purple belt second place.
Nice.
Yeah. And hace 2 semanas ya, ¿no? El campeonato de grappling de fila.
Ah, sí, 2 semanas.
¿No?
Será en el español de
fila se dice en inglés también.
Sí.
Sí.
Yeah.
Sí.
2 weeks ago there was the Canarian grappling fila tournament, and that
nice.
the guys who win there, they go for the national level in beginning of February in grappling.
Cool. Nice, so the level is pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, we wanted to ask you about seminars. Which places have you been around the world giving seminars? And we believe one of the places is Spain, no?
Yeah. I've been to a lot of places. I can't talk about the ones in America for visa reasons, but so I've taught a lot around Ireland recently, which is what I really wanted to do, especially after ADCC. I kind of wanted to share the experience with everyone, and I really like the idea of kind of giving back and helping everyone, you know, because really the best thing about the seminars is, you know, you just get to see that there's nothing different really between competing at the highest level and competing at, you know, at a normal tournament here. and then I can share all the different experience and the kind of, you know, the little details that really make a difference at a high level. So I've done a lot around Ireland, some around the UK as well, and I taught a couple in Spain as well, and I did them in Spanish as well, which is I don't know how I did it, but like when I really need the Spanish, for some reason it's there.
It comes out.
It's like Conor McGregor said, it's like pressure creates diamonds.
Yeah.
What would that be? Presión crea diamantes.
Sí, muy bien, sí.
Yeah, when I need it, it's there, you know. So I've spent a lot of time in Spain over the last few years, so it was nice to sit there. So hopefully I'll keep getting out there. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I like you know,
sorry.
traveling.
Have you been to Canary Islands before, Tom?
No, I haven't, but I've been meaning to visit actually, because one of my best friends, he lives there at the moment in Tenerife. So
nice.
Hopefully I'll go over the next few months. So yeah, it'll be good. I heard the training is good there as well, so I'll probably try and go for a couple of weeks and explore a bit. And
yeah, sure. You, we believe you like it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Good. Anyway. Most important.
Nice. Nada, que como nos estaba preguntando el nivel que había en Canarias, pues le preguntamos por seminarios y por distintas partes que él haya, distintos países que él haya ido, pero dando seminarios, pues su experiencia y demás. Y sabíamos que uno de los países a los que ha ido a dar seminarios es en España. Sí. Entonces, nada, él dice que después de ADCC en Irlanda, también estuvo dando seminarios y que le gusta la idea de compartir, ¿no? Y de enseñar.
Sí, que los pequeños detalles son los que hacen la diferencia.
Sí, exacto. Y que al final no, o sea, analizándolo así desde fuera, que no hay tanta diferencia, digamos, en una competición de alto nivel con un torneo local, que al final lo que cuenta es el conocimiento y las ganas que tengas de hacer Jiu-Jitsu, ¿no? Sí. Y entonces también ha dado seminarios a lo largo del Reino Unido y que también en España, y que le gustó bastante en España también dar el seminario, y que lo dio en español, que dice que eso, que la presión crea diamantes y que le sale el español, no sabe cómo, pero le sale.
Por supervivencia.
Sí, exacto. Y nada, por último le preguntamos que si había estado en Canarias y que dice que no, pero que tenía pensado en breve visitarlo, que tiene un amigo en Tenerife y que así prueba aquí un poco cómo es el panorama, ¿no? Sí. Exacto. Tom, is there any camp or any gym you haven't visited yet and you would like to visit and train there for a while?
I'd like to train in New York at Henzo's and Marcelo's. I've never trained there, just to see what the level is like. And I'd like to train with the Mendez brothers as well in Costa Mesa. I haven't been there either, but I learned so much from Rafa Mendez coming up through the years. And the other one would probably be, if I could train, I know he does MMA mostly now, but Ryan Hall, so I'd like to visit his gym as well. Because Ryan Hall, I've probably learned more from Ryan Hall than from anyone else.
Otro wizard.
I've never met him. Yeah, and I've never met him, you know, so... so those few gyms would probably be my favorite ones, just because they're the people that I learned the most from. Since I'm like a white belt, you know, so it would be funny to see what it's like to actually train with them, because I've never actually met them, even though I've learned so much from watching them compete and, you know, different things like that. So
Nice. Nada, que le hemos preguntado que algún gimnasio que no haya visitado, algún camp que quiera hacer, que a dónde iría, ¿no?
Sí, y dice que bueno, que no ha estado en Nueva York, que en Renzo Gracie y en Marcelo García, y que también de otro del que ha aprendido mucho, dice que la mayoría así mirándolo es de Ryan Hall, que también le dicen de Wizard.
Sí.
Que bueno, está más enfocado en MMA ahora, es verdad. Y que nada, que le gustaría ir ahí también.
Y también con los Méndez.
Costa Mesa, sí.
Sí, con Rafa Méndez. Dice que es gracioso porque no conoce, o sea, no los ha visto en persona nunca, pero es de la gente de la que más ha aprendido, ¿no?
Claro. Sí, son de los que más tutoriales han tenido en su momento también Ryan Hall, ¿no? De los primeros que sacó.
Sí. Que ve que también los de Ryan Hall son bastante largos, ¿no?
Sí.
Son horas.
¿Qué más?
Tom, I think we have covered most of the things we wanted to talk with you. Is there anything you want to add? Nothing much. Just want to say thanks to everyone who supports me, and thanks to you guys for inviting me on. And hopefully Irish Jiu Jitsu will be coming up over the next few years. And if anyone has any other questions for me about anything, or just send me a message on Instagram or anything like that. But yeah, hopefully you'll see me at some big tournaments this year, and I'll slap some people at combat jiu-jitsu.
Me personally, I don't like combat jiu-jitsu, but maybe because you are participating, I'll watch it.
Yeah, maybe watch it afterwards.
Just watch the highlights. Okay. Ya para cerrar, yo creo que hemos cubierto todo. Sí. Le hemos preguntado si él quería añadir algo más, o si se quedó algo pendiente que él quisiera comentar. Y dice que nada, que...
Sí, que dar las gracias a la gente que lo apoya en Instagram.
Exacto. Que muchas gracias a nosotros también, y que cualquier cosa que le quieran preguntar o ponerse en contacto con él o lo que sea, lo pueden hacer a través de su Instagram. Tom, could you say your Instagram? How is it?
Yeah, so it's Tom Halpin BJJ. So Tom Halpin HALPIN and then BJJ.
Ese es su Instagram si quieren contactar con él, que lo pueden hacer por ahí, y que nada, que lo veremos participando en futuros eventos. El primero de ellos es el Combat Jiu-Jitsu, metiendo cachos.
UFC Fight Pass.
Exacto. Y nada más, esperamos que les haya gustado. Thanks a lot, Tom, for accepting the invitation and being here. We think we liked the talk and the podcast, and that's it. Hope we see you sometime soon.
Definitely. Muchas gracias, y todos escuchando también, muchas gracias.
Gracias, Tom.
Hasta la próxima.
Hasta luego.
Chao.